Documents are norms. Documents are norms standard on public libraries. The first attempt of formulate standard of public library was made in November 1933 by the American Library Association. The American Library Association in 1943 published a document entitled Post-War Standard for Public Library, and it was supplemented after the war by a national plan for public library service, which for the prescribed standard for public library system as offered the individual libraries. This was followed in 1956 by document entitled of public library services, a guide to evaluation with minimum standard, which indicate in the standard for resource sharing of service and materials. In 1966, the American Library Association and the Public Library Association appointed a joint standing committee to draft standard of public libraries. Accordingly, the SIDA committee published a document entitled Minimum Standard for Public Library System. In the international level, International Federation Library Association, through its public library section, published document on standard for public library service. Its second edition was brought out in 1977, entitled Standard for Public Libraries. It covers few principal aspects of public library service normally: books and other material. Second stop. Third one is facilities and maintenance. Fourth is library premises. Fifth is services. Similarly, development have taken place in UK, where the first comprehensive standard entitled Standard for Public Library Service in England and Wales was published in 1962. Since then, a number of countries have allied their own standard, but the India so far no such attempt have been made to have standard, expecting certain proposal in the 5 years plan. The national policy on library and information systems suggested by the ILA and the RRLF had to be passed by the Union government, although it is submitted earliest 1986. Senior professionals like D.R. Kalaya, it will have dropped its guide for the public library system and service. Recently, Dr. Velaga Venkatapaya proposed a preliminary draft entitled Standards and Guidelines for Public Library Service, at request of the Indian Library Association. General Standard and Guidelines. This is a standard section. One is learning section, reference section, and children section with reading facility library. Another is it should be an open access library to facilitate the user borrow the stock. Next one is some Nominal membership fees are deposit to be collected for the home lending services, and no fees shall be changed for reading inside of the library. Next service is the library should be provided without qualified and trained staff. Next one, different type of service are to be provided, which are core service, such as reference, lending, document and services. Library are to be establishment in a hierarchical order, and there shall be link of national library to that state library and the district level, which in turn like the village and branch level libraries. Necessary records and statistics are to be maintained by every library, which will be useful for future evaluation, survey, and research. Public libraries should be provided following minimum facilities irrespective of size and its location such. This is a reading room, housing, newspaper, periodicals, and books. Children section to be separate reading habit among the children. Service appointed should work at least for 6 hours in a day, shift or the statute convenient of reading community. These are the general standard and guidelines of the public libraries and specific standards. This is for the children and pensioners and literatures, for the information services, the human resources. These are the specific standard for children. As per IFLA, at least 3 volumes for a inhabitant. Next one, at least 100 reference sources per 3,000 population unit. In a large library, it will be 10% of total stock. At least 250 volumes per annum per 1,000 population. At least 50 periodicals is a basic requirement in a large library, 10 periodical for 1,000 population. At least 2,000 records surround recording up to the population 20,000. At least 300 such records should be added annually. This is the special standard according to for the children IFLA. According to the public library standard in UK and Wales, these are the following: at least 3,000 volume to be added per year, annual edition of 300 volume of all of the duplicates, at least 50 periodical of general interest, and considerable number of the periodical of reference volumes. Next one is not less than 100 volumes for foreign languages books shall be added annually. Library service of 1 lakh and above population should be added 5,500 volumes adult non-fiction titles annually. Annually, provision of not less than 250 volumes of like kinds and not less than 90 adult non-fiction volumes for lending and reference shall be considerable for a 1,000 population. These are the according to England and Wales in specific standards. The primary public, the primary function of the public library is to assemble, organizing, preserve, and make easily to freely available to people the printed and non-material. The ALA laid down the following guidelines. One is all material should be select and retained or described in keep with a standard objective for each year, each system. Material acquired should meet high standard of quality in content, expense from and from. Within this standard, within this standard of purpose, quality collection should be built to meet the need and interest of people. Library collection should contain option views in controversial topics. The collection of the public library should be certain material with contribute in library proposed without regard and form. Systematic removal of material no longer useful is essential to maintaining the purpose and quality of resource. A library system must have resource covering enters themselves several communities. Its service reasonable and the most of immediately. These are the ILA general guidelines. And the model standard of public library service system of allocation. These norms to total book stock of authority will be not less than 2 volumes per capita of resident population. Next one is each year not less than 250 volumes per be added population. These are the specific standard of in collection the public libraries. Next one is the children. What is the main? The UNESCO, some given the children purpose, what is the service is allotted, which service is useful for the children, they are given the some standards and guidelines. In use, the UNESCO Delhi seminar on public library held in 1955. They resolve, they give, they tell, they given the all public libraries should be provide service for the children and young people as an integrated part of their service to the community through system of public libraries. Often the public authorities free to all without any descriptions. If the various service must be economical waves. Such system should be planned throughout Asia to give coverage to the whole population. And they give every public library shall maintain children section for the developing and the creative talent and mental development in the children. The involvement of the children section shall be made good and decorated well so that they look and like children's playhouse. In the library, public library, children can be hopeful and they enjoyful their reading habit and development. Properly reading the materials suitable to be children shall be acquired and to develop in close relation to the curriculum of school and the culture of the locality. And we are developing storytelling, reading habit, and reading books, book stocking, and competition, indoor games. These are providing in the public library for the children's purpose. And the human resources, the library system should be have a qualified, efficient, adequate staff of reading services of effective. The state government shall from the state library service for appointed of the staff in public libraries. All the members of the libraries shall be considered as government servants. The personnel work in the public library either under the government control or in the granting aid libraries shall be covered in the category of government staff. There shall be two categories in manpower in the public library system, namely professional and semi-professional staffs. The Library Association in the model statement of standard of public library service maintained the following guidelines without regarding staff in public libraries. Each library authority will employ a minimum of one full-time non-manual member of staff each 2,300 resident population. One third of those posts will be designated of professional level and filled by a qualified library. Each library authority will provide a staff development scheme for all staff. Each library authority will provide a staff training program which will include interpersonal skills, customer creative training, bibliographic skills. Authority shall provide staff with opportunities to undertake continuing professional development. These are the professional human resource. And for the information services, the Library Association had made the following provide for the various information services to provide by public library. All library will provide the user with access to accurate and update information, make use for information and communication technology, appropriate printed material. The information will be provided in response to questions like in person will be may other man. The most appropriate format without printed and non-printed based will be used when the responding to such request. This source of information will be when provided information to user. Any user inquiry cannot be deleted in the time to time asking in here will receive the response within the few working days. Our library, including mobile libraries, will part of information referral network, which is the provide structural access to wider resources. Community information services will be provided on demand, and such information material will be kept and adapt to continue version. For the physical facilities, what is the physical facilities? As per the ILA, the physical facilities of public library should express the program of library services. The library building must be inviting and easy to use. The library building should be efficient and flexible and expandable, appropriate and adequate quality and quantity of lighting and other mechanical equipment should be provided in the building. Furniture and equipment should be honorious with the architecture of building, contributing to the efficiency. The site of the library building should be center of location. These are the physical facilities in the public library. These are the norms, public library norms and standards. And public library services. In the chapter, public library services, the general reading services, learning services, and service of special groups as literatures, children, houseband rented and pensioners, minorities and tribes and distance users, information services and information source. In the public library services, it was a uh, UNESCO Public Library Manifesto in 1994 that they gave the constructive participation of development and democracy depend the satisfactory education as well as free and unlimited access to knowledge through the culture and information. These are the public library main objectives in the public UNESCO manifesto. What is the reading material, availability of reading material? The public library service, the library authorities shall be process well selected and comprehensive book stock, taking into account the range, quality, currency, and quantity of material. Library Association published in Model Statement of Standard of Public Library Service in 1995. Stock will be managed by professionally qualified librarians as continuous process, and stock which is without the stock which is out of date and proper physical condition withdraw, replaced and repaired. If any loss of copy of in item was some located in the interest of local value will be stored in service book stock. All library will provide the user with the means to identify and locate material. Such provide many included online public access catalog, standard bibliographic text, and user advisory service. The library will provide access to material that not in its local stock for interlibrary lending subject to specification and function service scheme. Material will be made available to the public library within one way it being receiving by the library authority. Material relating to the local history record of the local government be made available. This is the public library services, availability of reading material, and what is the service of special groups. One of the peculiarity of public library is that they will have save the special groups. This group is the following: disability and old people, housewives, and less privileged people. They have special groups and they can maintain the what section will do in the public library. To literature, public library should be render specialized service to the literature with the special trained personnel and the possible with the separate budget provision. It shall be obligatory on the library system to render possible library service for the creating social awareness in the literature by arranging exhibition and film shows and wall posters and so on. The public library system should explore possibility to open separate section exclusively in the continuous mean for the above groups. For the children, every public library without exception shall be maintain children section for developing creative talent and mental development in children. The environment of the children section should be made attractive and be created well so that it take like a children play home. Suitable children's books and other reading material, audio-visual material should be in the section. Photographic, printed, maps, attractive toys, and other game materials should be find place in this section. Storytelling, reading books, book stock, competition, indoor games. These are the some creative talent encouraged in the children's section. Innovation, discovery, some of the world greatest events must be find in place of this section through the book, illustrations, and well painting are the locations which maintain this children's section. And next one is the pensioner. One of the legitimate adults in public library, they should offer public library service of pensioner, renamed house and donation center. If it is big version, it is a public library authority can open library in pensioner, or it is a small pension. Book deposits station for book delivery center can be opened in it. Past time literature and the book which is increased in the entire volume should be put in the library. And rural area, they have to provide mobile van services and they can use some facilities to the rural area services. And what is the reference service is be maintained in the public library because any people have given referred the some exclusive books, they also maintain this. And the information services, what is the public library information services? In the main, they are given newspaper clipping services and CIS services, current awareness services, and SDI services, selected dissemination and information services, and indexing services, and abstracting services. These are the information services in the public library. Beside the traditional services like lending, consultation, and reference, the public library should talk of advanced services like current awareness services, indexing services, abstract services. The Library Association in 1995, they released a model statement of service, a model statement of standard for the public library services. List it out in the information service to be refined by the public libraries. All libraries will provide the user with access to accurate and up-to-date information, making use for information and communication technology, and appropriate printed materials in the public library. Information will be provided in response to questions asked in person or by any other means. The most appropriate format, whether printed or non-printed based, will be used when responding to such requests. The resource of information will be stated, then providing information to user. And information inquiry can't be dealt with the time of asking. Inquiry will receive response within 5 working days. All libraries, including mobile libraries, will be part of information reference network, which will be structured access wider resource. Community information service, which assistant individual and group with daily problems solving and with prepare participation in the democratic information material will be kept up to date and be subject to continuous services. All branch library will stock the relevant local newspaper, at least one national daily broadcast newspaper and one national Sunday broadcasting newspaper. All large and medium libraries will stock at least one copy of appropriate regional newspaper, and all large and medium sized library will stock respective range journals and provide access material to held newspaper clipping services. This is more or less a current awareness of information. In these services, the offer at top level scientist, research scholar, and informed of the at least development on base of papers clipping after screening many different newspaper current awareness services. In these services, the scientist and research scholar advanced level research are informed the current development in their respective field of study research. For this purpose, material is scanned from research journal, conference papers, project reports, monographs, policy document, patented standard also. Current content. This is a part of current awareness services. And the content pages of research journal are extended in sector to the research scholar and scientist in the form of weekly or monthly bulletin, adapting the quality material available in need of the user. Selective dissemination information services. This is an attempt system information material in computer in dissemination information to the user. An interest profile description and define the area of interest in complied for each user. It constates the term which are likely a paper relevant document. Here all the profile of the user are stored and managed tape in computer disk. SDI is a highly selective and proportional service generated with the application computer. Indexing services. It is services maintain research scholar. It is an access tool provide reference to current and prospective literature coming in the form of book, journal, article, reports, thesis, conference papers, etc. These will be related in form of documentation like kept in the form in code arranged in the alphabetical sequence. Abstracting services. This is a preparation of abstracting for a specific subject which needed by the user. Abstracting are prepared and supplied regularly to subscripts. It is being the respect of current and even reprogative literature. Bibliographic completion. This service read by the type of libraries. It is the request for the user. The library staff will compile bibliography to topical subject area and them many also combine to highlight recent literature and the event of seminars, workshops, and some other sessions. Literature research services. It is a systematic and enhances research publication material to specific subject for the use of research scholar. For this purpose, the library should be equipped and appropriate bibliographic and index volume abstract information given. Document delivery services. This is just delivering the required document to the user in a form of photocopy or the microform. These are the information services in public library. Thank you.